It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hey, it's that time for your weekly cup of coffee. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And you see I'm wearing the red and blue, which means
that.
they advance. So at least one more week you guys will have to put up with my Bills fandom. It'll be on full display. But this week on Cup of Coffee, we'll talk about the NFL playoff bracket. Man, there's some good games this weekend.
Yes, every one of them, well, not everyone, but just about everyone was down to the last second, man. Great games.
Yes, sir. Hey, we got some local headlines. We talked about the half-cent sales increase in Osage Beach. City leaders say not yet. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Camden County. Are they finally closer to finalizing that budget for 2026?
Yeah.
And without further ado, we're going to give you our top 5 storylines for 2026 on this week's Cup of Coffee. That and a whole lot more after this from Slumberland at the Lake.
Start out your year with big savings at the New Year's sale at Slumberland Furniture. Up to 50% off list. Get this Ashley 2-piece combo, Redmond sofa, plus your choice of rocker recliner, chair, or love seat for only $5.99. Get your choice of these best-selling Lazy Boy recliners for just $5.55. Get a Sealy mattress for just $2.99. Pay no interest for 36 months with approved credit. Save big at the New Year's sale, only at Slumberland Furniture.
A cup of coffee as we wake up, in the car, or right here on Lake TV with Will and Chris. Kind of like driving, we do it every single day.
But we shouldn't do it while distracted. Did you know that drivers who text are 23 times more likely to be in a crash? So keep your eyes on the road and always remember to buckle up and put your phones down.
This Drive Safe, Boat Safe message brought to you by Price and Randall Injury Attorneys.
Now back to your cup of coffee with Will and Chris.
All right, yes, a good reminder to drive safe and boat safe. Again, going over the toll bridge, saw a couple of boaters in their fishing boats over the weekend. It doesn't matter what kind of weather, and we actually had some pretty good weather, surprisingly, over the weekend, and then back to cold and now warm again. Hard to keep up with Missouri weather.
Yeah, it is. Christmas in the 70s, people were out boating on Christmas.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Never know what you're going to get. So our first local headline of the week, City of Lake Ozark. They get a federal grant, and they promise demolitions are coming to the historic Bagnell Dam Strip from Lake Expo. They received a $300,000 community development block grant to support demolition project, including 23 structures around the area.
Yeah, and you know, for anybody that's been down to the Strip, you know, that's the one thing people notice. There's a lot of dilapidated old buildings and stuff like that, you know, and what are we going to do with all of that? So here this grant gets awarded by the Missouri Department of Economic Development, will help improve safety and redevelopment opportunities near the Bagnell Dam Strip, according to the press release. The project includes, as you said, 23 structures on or around the Strip area. All properties included in the project are owned by Reese Development, Nick Reese and Company, which will provide, Reese Develop provide another $133,000 to the city of Lake Ozark to complete the work. So they're chipping in too for all of this. One structure slated for demolition, the former Shoreland Motel on the Strip, and then a series of residential and commercial buildings along several of the roads near or around the Strip. According to the city, these structures were eligible for the funding due to their advanced state of blight and lack of structural safety, which would make sense. Each structure was required to have been vacant for an extended period of time to qualify. Several of the buildings contain asbestos and other environmental contaminants, and all have been formally certified by the city as dangerous buildings. So this all makes sense. This would seem to be a really good thing for the area, and maybe the next step that it's going to take to kind of revitalize that whole Strip area.
Yeah, City Administrator Harrison Fry said he's grateful to the state for the opportunity to breathe new life into the Bagnell Dam Strip corridor. And he said that those long-standing dilapidated structures, as you said, will be safe, meaningful, and it's all properties that are involved in this project are actually owned by Reese Development. They contribute another $133,000, and that's part of the Reese Development's rejuvenation of the Bagnell Dam Strip the last couple of years.
Yeah, and it says redevelopment has invested more than $600,000 over the last 2 years to clean up the strip and demolish dilapidated structures. So it's not like they're, just punting and looking for free money here. It looks like $600,000. They really stepping forward to help get this done.
Yeah, this is like everybody wants this, right? We've seen the Bagnell Dam Strip repaved over the last year and a half, which is a huge difference to that area, and you could imagine that we'll start to see visually a different skyline, a different look down there, which is much welcomed by many people. So this is good when you see private business partnering with city municipality to get big things done for the city. So we'll follow that. All right, so in regards to last week's show, we talked about some city leaders in Osage Beach had discussed putting an initiative on the April ballot for a half-cent tax increase that would go to public safety, police, ambulance, EMT, dispatch, things of that nature. Well, it appears, according to Lake Expo, Wednesday night's meeting, city leaders said maybe not yet.
Yeah, so they're going to table this for now. They didn't say, no, we're not ever going to do this. They tabled it for now, which I kind of had to chuckle, because they're probably tabling it because we've got an election coming up in April, and then they're going to deal with it after that. They don't want to tick any voters off right now. So the half-cent tax had been proposed as a way to boost funding for the cities, as you mentioned, the police, ambulance, dispatch services. After discussion at the January 7th meeting, the Board of Aldermen and Mayor Harmison agreed that they will explore other areas of funding for now for those services and come back to the sales tax question this summer. So basically they're saying we're going to wait until after the election before we deal with this. Police Chief Todd Davis made the case for additional funding in a presentation to the board during the meeting. Chief Davis told the board that he anticipates the need to hire additional police officers, dispatchers, ambulance personnel as the city grows, and that makes sense. I mean, the area is growing, more people are coming in and everything, and you're going to have to deal with that in one way or another, but the politicians decide, we're not going to do that now. Let's get this election out of the way, and then we'll talk about it this summer.
Yeah, I'm interested to see after Chief Davis's presentation was heard, but probably not the outcome he was looking for, right? This won't go on the ballot. Yet, part of his argument was, well, our officers are less than Camden County sheriffs, about $3 an hour less, as well as dispatch, and we'd like to become more competitive with local surrounding agencies so we can train, retain, and build a strong police force. And so that was part of their argument. But it wasn't just one or two that felt like this should be tabled. Bob Osteen, Phyllis Morose, and Justin Hoffman, all on the Board of Aldermen, all voiced reasons why they thought they should maybe wait and at least look at other options, other funding sources, or maybe a way they could reappropriate some funds. Like, hey, their departments maybe were overspending and we could move some of that over. They said that we didn't get enough time to even look at those options, so they'll table it. Did get met with some pushback online, I saw, after that news was shared. But for now, and it could be, as you alluded to, there is a very important upcoming election. We're already seeing campaigning. We know that the current mayor, Michael Harmison, he has a challenger, not just one, but two. Former Alderman Richard Ross is running, and local businesswoman Angie Schuster is running. And so then also Phyllis Morose has a challenger in her ward for that seat. So not just Osage Beach, Lake Ozark, Camden County, big election coming up in April. But for you voters in Osage Beach, you don't have to worry about whether to approve or reject a half-cent sales tax increase to go to your safety services.
Not until summer anyway. It's interesting too, they do, in these kind of stories, they throw out some interesting numbers, like starting officer pay is $19.85 an hour, which is $3.89 less than Camden County Sheriff's Office. It wasn't too long ago Camden County Sheriff's Office was below everybody else, and they have come up. Dispatcher hourly rate is $18.50. That is less than the sheriff's office. He said adding ambulance staff salaries about the average compared to the others. So it's interesting to see those numbers. Those people put their lives on the line for $19.85 an hour.
Yeah, sure. And we'll talk about budgeting too, because as that budget set, a lot of different budgets, the one we'll be focusing on here shortly, Camden County. But hey, one local headline that people are excited about, pretty big news. Another Lake Expo headline, but Mammoth Fieldhouse Sports Complex is coming to Osage Beach in 2028. What do you think?
This is interesting. Yeah, this is fascinating to me. There's so much big development starting to happen in the area. So a large multi-sport entertainment complex that could include a driving range experience, kind of like Topgolf, pickleball, other sporting elements. It's a done deal. Apparently, it's coming to Osage Beach. Developer Gary Mitchell revealed his plans for a Mammoth Fieldhouse. That's what it's called, to the Osage Beach Board of Aldermen. This was January 7th as well. Fielding questions from the board, providing details about the project. The complex will be located on KK in the Arrowhead Center development, across the street from the Arrowhead Senior Living Center, where there's a golf course over there. A lot of room over there, apparently. Apparently, a while back, they wanted to build condos on there, and that was kind of shut down for one reason or another. Mammoth Fieldhouse, Inc. is a new but rapidly expanding company. Similar developments either already built or in the works in Wichita, Oklahoma City, Marion, Illinois, Branson, among other locations. So this is a big deal. And they've got some things already, done. So it's not like they're just kind of coming out of nowhere and it's a ghost plan or something. This is a big thing.
Yeah, it could be. Now, two things I was interested about was first the location. Remember that Arrowhead Century Development, they were getting ready to run out of their 10-year deadline to have their phases complete for the original TIF agreement, a redevelopment agreement with the city from 2015, and they kind of pushed that through the end of last year. If you'll remember, there was a lot of pushback, and it was supposed to be nightly rentals for elderly or retirement. There was going to be storage units. There was going to be things of that nature. Now it looks like this site is going to have a Mammoth Fieldhouse sports complex, so not exactly what was believed to be initially in 2015 with that redevelopment agreement. And so it'll be interesting to see what kind of abatements and TIFs and things they're going to work out on this, because that development, that center already has like agreements with the city in place with a redevelopment plan on what was supposed to happen there, right? Over the course of the next 10 years. And so that was just like renewed or re-upped for 2025. And so be interesting to see what that redevelopment agreement looked like when they finalized it, and if it included something like this Mammoth Fieldhouse sports complex.
Yeah, and some of the things they do at their different sites, and they kind of put sporting things in depending on what's around them. Like if there's another Topgolf site around them, they tend not to do that, and they do other things. But website also showcases like Battle Bats batting cages, Arc Rivals basketball as activities that they can do, as we mentioned, pickleball and other things. So it'll be interesting to see. I know there was some talk that another local team was thinking about putting a Topgolf, Pin Seekers kind of thing in right off 54. So maybe that will change the way these people are thinking. Maybe not. It'll be interesting to see how that works.
Well, it is worth noting that you mentioned the Wichita, Oklahoma City, Marion, Illinois, Branson, and there's also an Overland Park one, but I've yet to see anything open in any of these locations. They're all promised coming soon, and actually, it's all renderings for all of these locations. Now, Branson did have an incentive package worked out with the city of Branson, and they're promising opening of 2026, but I see no like on-site, no like structures,
no
nothing
real
in
pictures
Branson.
or anything, yeah.
Did see some news from Marion, Illinois, where they had some construction and some cranes and heavy equipment moving on site, but all promise coming soon. So I don't know how much of a proven concept, or if they've got an actual Mammoth Fieldhouse sports complex like open and operational anywhere. I couldn't find one.
Good point.
As far as like giving us a concept or a proven concept. So it will be interesting. Now, as I said, I did see that groundbreaking there. We know a lot can happen after you've already broken ground at the site and things of that nature. So potentially great news for the city of Osage Beach, and we'll hit on in just a minute. You remember Pin Seekers with the Boyers, Tyson Boyer family. That development, we have a slight update in regards to that and our top 5 storylines this season coming up.
There was another interesting side note to this story, that the developer Mitchell also said he thought the board might find the project particularly interesting, considering the city has already commissioned that $58,000 feasibility study for the possible future development of a destination sports venue. So they've got all that land there. What Mitchell is saying is, hey, if we build this here, you got all this land, you can also do your sports facility here if you want, And so he's kind of leaving that door open. That would be interesting too.
Yeah, so potentially great news and gives you an idea as you look at KK, all the growth and stuff that's come over the last 10 years. Could be a lot more on the horizon, especially right off that exit there. So, all right, our next headline, pretty cool for those of you that have kiddos. It's always important. We're seeing sickness like never before this year, right?
Yeah.
Past, whether it's the flu.
You got
cold.
it right now.
Yeah, we've all got it, right? We're all congested and stuffy, but it's more important to make sure we're taking care of our kids than ever before. And our friends over at Central Ozarks Medical Center are excited to introduce you to their COMC Wellness Wave Club.
Yeah, interesting. A fun and rewarding program designed to encourage children to stay on top of their health, right? Regular medical and dental wellness visits. So this Wellness Wave Club uses a unique wellness passport system, which is pretty smart, kind of fun for kids maybe, where participating children receive a passport that they get stamped after they complete essential services, including like their medical wellness exam, their dental screening. Once all services are completed, children earn a complete passport and a free ticket to Super Splash USA for a fun-filled summer day. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and then you also will be sent as part of the program for your birthday. They'll send you a voucher for free frozen custard with Andy's, which is pretty great. You could visit centralozarks.org to find out more and get enrolled. That's a great program, and it's a great way for COMC to get those kids in there to get those wellness exams and, of course, your dental screening, which is so important, especially when you're young.
Yeah, you know, we had the opportunity to see COMC CEO Kelly Miller yesterday, you know, and I'm amazed at just the quality of people she's been able to put around her. You know, from Bree Lynch to, I mean, just everybody in that front office at COMC is amazing. And they start coming up with ideas like that too, you know, to help kids, help families stay healthy, because sometimes you need a hook to help the kids do that.
And announcing that they're going to be offering vision, optical.
That's right.
Coming up, which is super great. And of course, the new location at Hy-Vee. They've already got the Osage Beach and Richland and Eldon and Camden locations. They're all over the place, going to continue to grow. So yeah, it's been wild to watch the last 6 or 7 years how Central Ozarks Medical Center has really expanded.
Yeah.
Not just here at Lake of the Ozarks, but across the Midwest, and those services continuing to expand as well.
Stunning growth, really.
All right, so it's been a big topic the last couple of weeks, but Camden County has been working on setting their budget, right,
Yeah.
for 2026. We've had questions, proposed cuts from the auditor's office, and then all heck had kind of broken loose. But as we look at Monday's meeting, there was a presentation of the revised 2026 Camden County budget, and I didn't go, but I was able to listen back to the recording of the meeting, and the big topics was the sheriff's office and road and bridge, and miraculously, I don't know how, the sheriff's office budget has been increased to $15 million for 2026, with $390,000 coming from the TCLA funds that are sitting there to get it up to $15 million. The road and bridge, initially proposed at $7.725 million, has been increased to $13.622
Wow.
million.
Almost double.
Almost double, still slightly under the 2025 budget, but with all the other budgets from the commission's budget, treasurer, collector, reportal, public administration, HR, assessor, accounts payable, debt management, sheriff's office, contingency, emergency, all of that, everything seemed, they were all in agreement. It was balanced. No one had any qualms. I was shocked. So it looks like we're going to be able in the coming days to look at a published, completed Camden County 2026 budget, and it just seems like a couple of weeks ago, this seemed like an impossible outcome.
Yeah. Well, and there's still a lot of questions to be answered too. I mean,
Sure.
As we have reported the last few weeks, you know, they had that tax increase back in 07, 08, and they've raised something like $90 million that was supposed to go strictly to sheriff and road and bridge, which didn't. I mean, very little of that went to sheriff and road and bridge. So my question, where did it go? Is everything on the up and up? And, you know, they just redistributed that? I'd like to know where that went. I'm not sure we have those answers yet.
And I don't know if we would be able to in regards to how complicated they make city government in setting a budget, because even though things appear maybe didn't go earmarked exactly the way they were supposed to, in a lot of instances they did go back to the general fund and then went back to that department.
And more than likely that's what happened.
But it's so hard to follow that and to prove that or substantiate that. And so some of the conversations did include proposals to simplify the budget, remove different lines, and I think Auditor Laughlin is kind of the voice of reason, saying why you wouldn't do that maybe. But it doesn't appear necessarily that anything nefarious is going on. But it doesn't appear that historically Camden County's been super diligent, and it's how we got to this point.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to take a deep dive look into the 2026 budget, compare it to the 2025 budget, and see how much different it looks and what has changed. Although I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make any sense of it, because this is just crazy.
I was stunned yesterday. I saw you yesterday. You're suffering from the cold and flu, and you're listening in on this, this budget meeting. I'd have been sleeping like an hour ago. Somehow you stayed awake. You were still listening to it, writing notes and everything.
I didn't go to, because I figured they wouldn't appreciate me coughing on everybody
spreading the germs.
Entirety of the meeting. But I thought it was super important. I mean, these are important stories, and a lot of times in small towns, no one does look, no one does ask, and it's really time consuming and it's hard. And so there's a lot of people in Camden County especially that have their finger on the pulse and are asking questions. So hey, we're getting excited. It's 2026, we're already a couple of weeks in. Hard to believe, right? And I hope that your year is off to the start that you wanted it to. And hey, and even if it's not, still time to turn things around, right? Because it's still early. And as we look at 2026, Chris, there's some big headlines that are on the horizon. So these are our biggest headlines on Lake TV for 2026. We're going to start with number one, the Oasis Amusement Park progress, looking at opening day in 2026.
Yeah, and they're shooting for what, September, I think. September or October is what they're shooting for as far as opening day for the Oasis. I know they would have loved to have opened in the spring and had the whole summer, but things got pushed back, so we'll see if it happens in the fall.
Yeah, we did see some rides on site, kind of in the laydown area. However, we also saw here in the last couple of days or so, there's ongoing litigation with developer Jeff Tagethoff. Reached out to him. Not a lot he would comment on there, so we'll follow that. But it's important to note that big development, civil litigation is common. However, we'll look into this and kind of see what's going on there. Our second biggest headline headed into 2026 for this year, it's will Lake of the Ozarks see a casino this year?
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen this year, although the vote might happen this year. Are they voting on this year, or are they waiting until 28 to vote on that?
I think they'd probably vote on the private in 26.
Yeah, I think that is going to be voted on to change the Missouri Constitution to get another casino on the water so it can be at Lake Ozark, in the Lake Ozark area. So I don't think, even if that passes, that it's going to happen this year. It would probably start to happen next year, I would guess.
Well, I'm going to say yes. Osage Nation breaks ground in some way, shape, or form in 2026. Even if not an actual gaming facility or casino, I did see they're announcing a visitor center on the Bagnell Dam Strip, which they're planning on having open in 2026 in regards to paying homage to the history, to the roots. Pretty cool, and people can come visit that and learn more about the Osage Nation. And then
I love that. I love history, so I love that.
And if you like history, I gotta ask, have you ever been down to Wilmore Lodge?
Oh yeah.
To see the Bagnell Dam history and some of the stuff they have there. Pretty cool. And then also, as you said, I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction that Lake Community Gaming will be successful in amending the Missouri Constitution to get the 14th license. And then they'll probably open in some capacity in 27 or 28.
Yep.
And so that would be my guess. How about the third biggest storyline?
Bass Pro Shops at the Outlet Mall. And it's not going to open in 2026, at least from what I'm hearing, but the development will begin. The whole pad is supposed to be down, and then they're going to build on top of that, and I think it's supposed to open in 2027. But Bass Pro coming to the Lake of the Ozark.
Yeah, and developers, I spoke with Mayor Michael Harmison. Developers have already paid a funding agreement to the city in order to start the negotiation process. They're exchanging info, but they have not submitted a TIF application as of yet. Mayor Harmison said he received a phone call directly from Johnny Morris expressing his excitement about Bass Pro coming to Lake of the Ozarks. He said several other stores have signed letters of intent to join Bass Pro Shops and develop and build their stores here. So pretty excited about that. Bass Pro Shop's going to be massive. And you can imagine when you start to see some of that construction take place, it's going to bring a lot of eyeballs.
Oh, yeah. And everybody excited about it already. I mean, 2 years away from it opening, but everybody's pretty fired up and excited about it.
All right. So our fourth biggest headline for 2026, we talked about Topgolf-style complex. Remember the Pin Seekers announcement, and of course now we've got this new sports complex potentially coming in 28. Well, for Pin Seekers, that was Tyson Boyer and family, that development. They changed banks in September of 2025. I talked with him, and he said they had a 3-month delay. They had some family illness, and they got approved and are finalizing their SBA 7A loan with a new bank. They're pursuing grant funds for an Osage Beach Parkway expansion to the golf complex.
Wow.
If you see, they're already doing site surveying and engineering currently, and that's being performed by ES&S, and they said that's going to meet MoDOT standards. They've cleared easement access for privacy electric lines requested by Ameren, and they've already put up fencing, as you see there, and lots of painting. And they said they're running under the yellow caution flag until the green flag drops. He gave me a goal to still open July 4th, 2026. He goes, that's us being aggressive, but I wanted to throw that out there. And that's before, of course, the announcement we saw Monday of this new sports complex. But still, good news to hear that they're moving forward and still having plans of making Lake of the Ozarks their home.
Yeah, and I think it's probably wise for them to move quickly, get this in, so that if that Mammoth sports development happens, then maybe they will not add the golf thing to compete with that, but add something else or other things in place of that. But that's such a good place to do that, right off of 54. I think they're going to be very successful.
Yeah, that will be fun to follow. And our fifth biggest headline is the Anglers Outpost development. You remember, right? The fancy Shouse-style fishing, lodging options. Michael Harmison says that they've already closed on their loan, or they're supposed to close on their loan by the end of the year and begin construction in early 2026. So it'll be interesting to follow their progress there. But those are the 5 biggest headlines, and we're seeing others continue to come in, right? As the year, and we're only here like the 3rd week in January.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, so NFL, we told you, we both had a good week in Pick'em.
Yeah, I missed one, and you were like perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Although I didn't really think that the Steelers were going to lose. I'm glad I picked them to lose, but, you know, I thought Aaron Rodgers would do better. My Bills still alive. You think Josh Allen has it?
I wouldn't bet against him. I've got the Bills, even though they're a number 6 seed, and I think they play the number 1 seed this week. I've got them going to the Super Bowl. I hope they win it. I've got them going to play Seattle in the Super Bowl. I would love to see Josh Allen and Buffalo win it all this year. Chiefs aren't there. Chiefs always knocked them out of the playoffs. This year the Chiefs are not there, so I'm pulling for the Bills.
We both have the Seahawks and Rams.
Yeah.
We both have the Bills. You've got the Patriots. I've got the Texans. So, and then I've got the Bills over the Rams. Still alive, baby. All right, so as we end this week, I heard a phrase this week from a pastor I like to listen to on YouTube, and he was actually quoting a Catholic nun. But these words, this phrase, I haven't been able to stop pondering it and reflecting on it. Very powerful. So here it is. Each of us is a word of God spoken only once.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, you aren't here by mistake or without a very distinct divine set of plans scripted over the course of your life. There will never be another you and that has that calling on your life, the exact purpose within them that you do. And so today I'm going to say it one more time. Each of us is a word of God spoken only once. And from the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 4, book of Job, chapter 33, verse 4 says, "The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty God gives me life." Pretty good stuff. And I heard that. That was a Catholic nun that said that. But that's so true, right? Each of us is a word of God spoken only once.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's a very good way to look at it.
Yeah, breath, gave us breath, breathe us right into life. Just crazy to ponder him. All right, hey, not only Cup of Coffee every single week, you can also catch Community Spotlight, and you got a Hall of Famer on this one.
Yeah, Nick Bruck, Camdenton great, still holds sports records at Camdenton High School, went into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, so we'll talk to him.
Yeah, next Tuesday night, It'll be in Camdenton. High school basketball. Don't miss it. And thanks for watching this week's Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake.